That's what it means. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Red light. Battery's dead. Jaya Radha. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashoda Nandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yashoda Nandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Madhava Kunja Bihari. Sri Radha Madhava ki, Sri Radha Giridhari ki. Jai Om Viṣṇu Pad Paramahamsa Varivraj Gachaja. Varivraj Gachaja Shodhara Shri Shri Maharaj Divine Grace. Srila Bhakti Saranta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai, Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, ISKCON Foundacharya, BBT Foundacharya, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, assembled devotees, all glories, Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Ramachandra Kaviraj and Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So before we begin the Srimad Bhagavatam class, we'll read a few verses. We're going to read a little bit about Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami. That's okay. So let me just begin reading. Let me open that door just a little bit. Let some air in here. What do you think? Is that a good idea? The all-merciful Lord Sri Gohari, as he traveled from village to village throughout the south of India, continued to distribute love of Godhead wherever he went. Hearing the nectarian names of Hari from his lotus mouth, thousands and thousands of men and women felt relief from the blazing fire of material existence. Various wretched, miserable, and fallen souls' lives were completely rejuvenated, and thus they became virtuous and happy. While causing rains of love of Godhead to fall anywhere and everywhere without consideration of time or place, Sri Gaura Sundar came to the ancient holy place of Sri Rangakshetra on an island in the middle of the Kaveri River. The temple of Sri Rangakshetra was extremely large. The crest of the temple tower pierced the sky. Throughout the day and night, hundreds and thousands of pilgrims were going and coming to take darshan of Lord Ranganath. The temple hall resounded with the sounds of hundreds and thousands of brahmanas chanting Vedic hymns. Go ahead, chant first verse of Purusha Sukta. That's multiply that thousands and thousands of times. Okay, there you go. In the midst of this scene, from Vaikuṇṭha entered Sri Gaur Sundar, chanting the names of Krishna in his sweet voice that defeated the voices of 10 million Gandharvas. Everyone in the temple became dumbstruck, amazed and thrilled with wonder. What unprecedented beauty his bodily effulgence makes molten gold appear lackluster. From his eyes, which are like the full-blown petals of a lotus flower, trickled down tears of ecstatic love. Every limb, every part of his body was filled with such exquisite grace that even the mind of Cupid gets stolen away. The Brahmanas began to consider, is this a demigod? Can such symptoms and emotions be found in human beings? Again, resounding the halls with the transcendental vibrations of Sri Hari's name, when he came before the deity and fell down as a tree is blown down by the wind, some people thought that a mountain of gold was rolling on the ground. Sri Vaikuṇṭha, seeing this divine personage, became restless with ecstasy. His heart being flooded with devotion, he got up and began to move the crowds away so that the Lord could engage in chanting and dancing. When the Lord had regained his external consciousness after engaging in Sankirtan, Vaikuṇṭha approached him and took the dust of his lotus feet. Mahaprabhu gazed towards him and saying, Krishna, Krishna, embraced him firmly. Sri Vaikuṇṭha invited Mahaprabhu to come to his house, and having brought him there, very reverently washed his lotus feet, and along with the other family members, he drank the water. Sri Bhattaji's house became filled with joy. Mahaprabhu came to Rangakshetra in the Christian year of 1511. Vaikuṇṭha Bhatta had two brothers, Tirumala Bhatta and Prabhananda Saraswati. They all belonged to the Ramanuja Sampradaya, and Prabhananda Saraswati was a Tridandi sannyasi of that order. Vaikuṇṭha Bhatta had a son named Gopal, who was then just a child. When the boy came to offer his obeisances at the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu, picked him up very affectionately and seated him on his lap. Mahaprabhu would call Gopal after he had finished his meal and offer his remnants to the boy. In this way, he prepared him for the position of Acharya. Wow. That's a pretty neat way to get prepared for being Acharya, getting the remnants of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay. After remaining at Vaikuṇṭha Bhatta's house during the 4 months of the rainy season, Chaturmasya, Mahaprabhu prepared to continue his journey of the south. Vaikuṇṭha Bhatta's house became the ebb in a tide of tears in anticipation of his departure. Gopal fell at his lotus feet in a dead faint. Therefore, Mahaprabhu remained for a couple of more days in order to console the boy. Being pleased with Gopal Bhatta Goswami's sincere service and devotion, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu initiated him and ordered him to move to Vrindavan after the disappearance of his parents and perform bhajan and rite. So he gave these instructions when he was just a little boy. Just a little boy. Okay. Very quickly, Gopal became expert in grammar, poetry, and rhetoric, and then began his study of Vedanta. These things are probably hardly even taught anymore, right? Go to school, grammar, poetry, and rhetoric, right?
Well, I learned English when I was in grade school.
I know, but I mean very little as far as become expert and so on. I mean, you can tell by the way people talk, right? It's like, when I was in Bhaktivedanta village, the Gurukula there, the English devotee Naimisharanya, he wrote the book on Ramanujacharya. He was saying when he went to school in England, they had a class, elocution, how to pronounce words properly, a whole class, just how to pronounce properly, like that. The British are famous for pronouncing everything very properly, proper English. His uncle, Prabhananda, specifically began to instruct him from devotional scriptures, so his uncle became one of his first teachers, Bhakti Shastra. Gopal Bhatta always remained thinking of the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu and when he might again be able to meet him. At the same time, however, he couldn't leave his aged mother and father. Finally, having reached their final days, they called their son Gopal and instructed him to go to the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu in Vrindavan. Then, while meditating on his lotus feet, they themselves they went to join him in his eternal Leela. So he went off to Vrindavan, and his parents went to Vrindavan too, or to join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his eternal Leela. So at the age of 30, Gopal Bhatta Goswami came to Vrindavan, and having missed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this saddened him. Thus Gopal set out for Vrindavan, and when he arrived there, Rupa Goswami immediately sent word to Mahaprabhu to inform him of Gopal's arrival there. Mahaprabhu had previously indicated to Rupa and Sanatan that Gopal Bhatta would one day come there to Vrindavan. So upon his arrival, they treated him with the same care and affection that they would their own brother. It's kind of like saying, okay, Balaram, in 10 years, there's a devotee who's going to walk through that door. His name is going to be Ramapati Acharya, and he's going to preach and deliver all of San Diego. So you take care of him when he comes. It's 10 years. Like this, you're waiting. All of a sudden he comes in. Ramapati Acharya comes in. So it happens. That's what it says here. They immediately became lifelong companions. However, the all-knowing Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, received word that Gopal Bhatta had come to Vrindavan. He was very pleased and sent with a messenger the Lord's personal wooden sitting plank, hoki, which he had used along with a pair of his undergarments and one of his upper cloths, uttara or chada. Having received these gifts, Gopal Bhatta was in ecstasy, and he worshipped them as pasad, tadiya of Mahaprabhu. When he would worship his deities, he would sit on that wooden plank. This piri, wooden seat in Mahaprabhu's clothes, is still being worshipped at Radharaman Mandir. Gopal Bhatta, like Rupa and Sanatan, had no fixed residence and would spend the night in various kunjas, forest groves. He spent his time studying the scriptures and composing various literatures. After Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's disappearance, Gopal Bhatta Goswami felt intense separation from the Lord. To relieve his devotee, the Lord instructed Gopal Bhatta in a dream. If you want my darshan, then make a trip to Nepal. In Nepal, Gopal Bhatta bathed in the famous Kali Gandaki river. Upon dipping his water pot in the river, he was surprised to see several shalagram shilas enter the pot. He dropped the shilas back into the river, but the shilas re-entered his pot when he refilled it. After emptying and refilling his water pot for the third time, Gopal Bhatta Goswami found 12 shalagram shilas sitting there. Thinking this must be the Lord's mercy, he kept all the shilas and returned to Vrindavan. Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami used to worship 12 shalagram shilas. Wherever he would go, he would bring them with him in a piece of cloth tied at the corner. One day, a wealthy man came to Vrindavan and offered Gopal Bhatta a variety of clothing and ornaments for his shalagrams. Being very impressed with the Goswami, he wanted his darshan and to render some service, which he presented in the form of some valuable clothes and ornaments. However, Gopal Bhatta couldn't use these for his round-shaped shalagrams, so he advised the donor to give the deity decorations to someone else, but the Seth, means businessman, insisted. Gopal Bhatta kept the clothes and ornaments with his shilas. While Gopal Bhatta Goswami was absorbed in remembering how the half-man, half-lion form of the Supreme Lord had manifested from the pillar in Hiranyakashipu's palace, he prayed in transcendental lamentation to the Lord, "O my Lord, you are very merciful, and always fulfill the desires of your devotees. I wish to serve you in your form, having arms and legs and blissful smiling face with lotus eyes. If I had a deity, then I'd be able to decorate him so nicely with these clothes and ornaments." So that was his prayer. In the evening, after offering some bhoga and artik to his shalagram shilas, Gopal Bhatta put them to rest, covering them within a wicker basket. Late in the night, Gopal Bhatta took a little rest, and then early in the morning went to take bath in the Jamuna River. Returning from his bath, he uncovered the shalagrams in order to render the puja for them, and saw amongst them a deity of Krishna playing the flute. There were now 11 Shilas, and this deity, the Damodar Shila, had manifested as the beautiful threefold bending form of Tribhangananda Krishna. Floating in an ocean of ecstasy, he fell to the ground in order to offer his dandavats and then recited various prayers and hymns. This wonderful event, the appearance day of Radharaman, happened on the day after Sri Narasingha Chaturdasi and is celebrated on that day accordingly. That day they offer 500 liters of milk for the Lord's pleasure and many other sweets and different things. You seen that? Did you count? 1, 2. Yeah, it's Abhishekam. It's a big, big celebration. Like that. The Radharaman temple has the highest standard of deity worship in all of Braja. And Prabhupada was friends with his father, Vishwambar Goswami. He said we should learn that temple, high standard, like that. When Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis, they're pujaris 9 years before you touch the deity. You're trained and they have a set of deities the same size as Radharaman. 9 years. 9 years. Then you can go on the altar. What's our standard here? 9 minutes? 9 minutes after second initiation. So they're very, very particular, very trained like that. Because this one tape I have, Vishwambar Goswami is saying that boys are there and they go to Upanayanam. Then they watch them, and then after some years, those who are actually Brahminically inclined, then they're, start the training, and that's 9 years. And then, gradually they start going on the altar, because there's different families and so on, but it's very, very strict, very, very strict. So, when Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis, as well as many other devotees, received the news of this miraculous event, they came running to see the Lord, gazing on the Lord's transcendental form, which bewildered all the living entities of the various planets. They all bathed him with their tears. This deity, whom the Goswamis named Sri Radharaman Dev, made his appearance on the full moon day of Vaishakha in the year 1542. Except for Vrindadevi, Sri Radharamanji is the only one in the original deities of Vrindavan who never left to go to Jaipur. Okay. It's easy to hide. Maybe that's the reason. Sri Radharamanji is still being worshipped in Vrindavan near Nidubhan Kunj and the compound of the temple. The deity is called Radharaman, although physically there is no apparent deity of Radha there, as one can see from the picture at the top of this page. To the right of the picture of Radharamanji's left is a place setting for Srimati Radhika. In this way, the pujaris worship Sri Radha and Ramanji together. Sri Radharaman Dev, unlike other deities, has very intricate features, including fingernails and even teeth. On the backside of his body, parts of the original Shalagam Shila from which he manifested himself can be seen. There is a story that the small son of one of the Saivites was playing with the deity once and put a small stick in one ear of the deity and pushed it out to the other ear. The stick, however, had blood on it, and that boy died vomiting blood that very day. All right, Krishna. Maybe I should have read this and skipped that part of the story, but it's a lesson to pujaris. Don't try this. Yeah, don't let little. If you ever have the great fortune to attend the Snan Yatra festival in Sri Vrindavan Dham, then it is a must that you visit the Radharaman temple on this day. The temperatures are hot and dry in the 40 plus centigrade, which is how hot? 90s or something? Oh, that's 40's really up there. Okay. And much anticipation of seeking out cooling water pervades the thoughts in Vrindavan's hot summer. At the temple, and merciful Radharamanji has made a provision so that first he takes his transcendental bath right at the front of the altar for all to see, but then after he has taken his expanded kindness, the pujaris turn on the sprinkler system that surrounds the open courtyard. The fan in the middle is even equipped with pipes to pour out cooling water as it rotates at a high speed. You saw that? Yeah. inundating all the devotees and taking darshan of the Lord with great pleasure. It is truly my favorite place in the world for Snan Yatra. Shri Shri Radharman Ki Jai. Let's see, let's go next. Yeah.
I have about 9 photos of this Radharman deity. Should I just, you can hand it to me?
Yes, yes. I just want to, we're going to.
Okay, let's see.
It didn't move. There's a lot here. Should I just keep reading? I don't know. It's in the Vaishnava calendar. Maybe it gets back to the bottom.
No, it wasn't from the Samadhi book?
I don't know. It's Vaishnava calendar, and they have little biographies on the different appearance days. But there's a lot. Should I just keep reading, or move on to the Bhagavatam, or just read?
What comes from your heart?
What came from my heart is a question that should I keep reading? That's what came from my heart. I mean, it's all nectar. Okay, here we. Yeah, it's. Now, was Gopal Bhatta Goswami? Was it Raghunath Bhatta Goswami would recite the Bhagavatam in different melodies? Raghunath Bhatta.
You also have, what is it, Ramchandra?
It's the disappearance day of Ramachandra, Kaviraj, associate of Narottam Das Thakur, right? Yeah.
No, Moga, don't get any ideas of going there, okay? Not right away, anyway. They have a Facebook thing, they email every day after the new pictures. Radharman has his own Facebook page. Yeah, yeah.
Says Sri Gopal Bhatta's devotion was so special, his devotion was so profound that the Lord appeared for him in this special form. Not only that, as if in confirmation of the pastimes of the Lord and Mahaprabhu's being directly Radha Krishna, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. In his worship of Sri Radharaman would sometimes see that he had taken the form of Gaurasundar when he was worshipping Radharaman. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, becoming subservient to the love of Sri Gopal Bhatta, Sri Radharaman would sometimes accept the form of Sri Gaurasundar. That's a quote from Chaitanya Charitamrita, I think. Sri Gopal Bhatta was the initiating guru of Srinivasacharya Prabhu. Sripad Gopal Bhatta Goswami was very learned, trained in Pancharatra, coming in the learned family of Venkat Bhatta. In the Sri Vaishnava line, he wrote many books including Sat Sandarbha Karika, Satkriya Saradipika, Vaishnav Samskara, Laghu Hari Bhakti Vilas. From this work, Sri Sanatana Goswami compiled the Hari Bhakti Vilas, now followed by all Gaudiya Vaishnavas. It is said, out of affection for Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Srila Sanatana Goswami compiled the famous Vaishnav Smriti titled Hari Bhakti Vilas and published it under Gopal Bhatta Goswami's name. Gopal Bhatta resided for 45 years in Sri Dham Vrindavan, but out of great humility he requested Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj not to mention his name in the classic work Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Gopal Bhatta Goswami serves as Guna Manjari. In the Gauradesha Deepika 2, it is mentioned that in the eternal pastimes of Radha and Krishna, Gopal Bhatta Goswami's name is Vrajalila and has been also given as Guna Manjari. Okay. So he lived for 75 years. 75 years. Okay. A little bit of Bhagavatam?
Yeah.
Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this is, we'll start with text 33 of chapter 5, canto 7. Iti uktva paratam putram hiranyakashipu rusha andikritatma swasangan nirasyata mahitale ityuktva paratam putra hiranyakashipurusha andikritatma swasangan nirasyata mahitale Ityuktva paratam putram hiranyakashipurusha andikritatma swasangan nirasyata mahitale. Anyone like to chant?
Nirasyata mahitale ityuktva paratam putram hiranyakashipurusha andikritatma swasangan nirasyata mahitale ityukta paratam putram hiranyakashipurusha andikritatma swasangan nirasyata mahitale ityukta paratam putram hiranyakashipurusha andikritatma swasangan nirasyata mahitale.
Okay. E.T. Thus. Oh, okay. I'll like say both words myself. Okay. E.T. thus, uktva speaking, uparatam stopped. Putram, the son, Hiranyakashipu rusha, with great anger, andikrita atma, made blind to self-realization, swa, utsangat, from his lap, nirasyata, threw, mahitale, upon the ground. Translation: after Prahlad Maharaj had spoken in this way and become silent, Hiranyakashipu, blinded by anger, threw him off his lap and onto the ground. How old was Prahlad? Right. You have to call Parent Protection Services on this one. I don't think they had him in his. 34, translation. Indignant and angry, his reddish eyes like molten copper, Hiranyakashipu said to his servants, O demons, take this boy away from me. He deserves to be killed. Kill him as soon as possible. Text 35. Translation. This boy Prahlad is the killer of my brother, for he has given up his family to engage in the devotional service of the enemy, Lord Viṣṇu, like a menial servant. Purport. Hiranyakashipu considered his son Prahlad Maharaj to be the killer of his brother, because Prahlad Maharaj was engaged in the devotional service of Lord Viṣṇu. In other words, Prahlad Maharaj would be elevated to Surupya liberation, and in that sense he resembled Lord Viṣṇu. Therefore, Prahlad was to be killed by Hiranyakashipu. Devotees, Vaishnavas, attain the liberations of Surupya, Salokya, Sarshti, and Samipya, whereas the Mayavadis are supposed to attain the liberation known as Sayuja. Sayuja Mukti, however, is not very secure, whereas Surupya Mukti, Salokya Mukti, Sarshti Mukti, and Samipya Mukti are most certain. Although the servants of Lord Viṣṇu, Nārāyaṇa, and the Vaikuṇṭha planets are equally situated with the Lord, the devotees there know very well that the Lord is the master, whereas they are servants. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unminitam Denataismai Sri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapatantikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasri Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchakapatarupascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Bhavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So, are there any questions? Did you enjoy the class? Now that it's okay. I don't know if it's, because I read ahead, I think it's in a purport coming very soon, but it was saying that Prahlad Maharaj, his stance was non-cooperation with the philosophy of Hiranyakashipu. Prabhupada says that. But he didn't get upset. In other words, my father's my father and this and that, and I'm just going to preach Krishna consciousness, but he didn't get upset. Whereas we see Hiranyakashipu is getting really upset. Very, very upset and angry, and to the point of ordering his own son to be killed. And of course, tomorrow and the next ones, whoever's giving class, he gives his reason for this, about amputation of a bad limb, and it's even there in the Bible, right? If your eye offends you, pluck it out. If your hand offends you, cut it off. So he's giving an argument that it should be done. Very, very angry about his son becoming a Hare Krishna, a devotee, like that. So in the purport here, Prabhupada's saying he considers him, he calls him, he's the killer of my brother. Now wait a second, he wasn't around. He wasn't around when his brother was killed. His brother was killed by Baraha and Lord Viṣṇu. He wasn't there. So why does he say he's the killer of my brother? Because of his association, like that. On one hand, it's a good thing. He's saying devotees are as good as the Lord. In fact, Prabhupada in the purport, he was understanding because of his great devotion, he would probably attain the Swarup, which means the same form of the Lord. So what's the difference? Vaishnava, Viṣṇu, what's the difference? So on one hand, that's a compliment to devotees of the Lord. In fact, that's a qualification of the great devotees of the Lord. It says they carry Krishna in their heart wherever they go. Now we know all living entities, Hrideshi Arjuna Tishtati, right? That all living entities, Krishna's in their heart. Krishna's even in Hiranyakasipu's heart. I'm sure the volume is turned way down as far as him being able to hear the Lord in his heart. But Krishna's in everyone's heart. So what does it mean that the great devotees, wherever they go, they carry Krishna in their heart? Is because of their great devotion, they're perceiving Krishna personally, and that consciousness, and they're preaching, and they have full realization. When you have full realization of something and you speak, it makes a difference. You ever hear that expression, that person doesn't know what they're doing? You ever hear that expression? They don't know what in the world they're doing, like that. So, but when you know exactly what, just like I finished reading Jamuna's Mataji's biography, and how expert she was in the kitchen. It was mystical just watching her. In fact, in one letter there, she was saying, she was training some cooks, and she said, this is what it means to be a cook. Cooking for the deities or for Prabhupada. She said, there's 4 steps. You know what the 4 steps are? Who wants to know what the 4 steps are? Anyone here like cooking in the kitchen? So, you're in charge of the kitchen. First one, pray. You actually pray to Radharani, you pray, and I remember Mahabharata saying there were different devotees at different times that come, they pay their obeisances at the door of the kitchen, then get up and go and cook. So first is praying, you pray before you cook, that may I do everything nice, okay. The next one is meditation. When you're cooking, it's a meditation. Don't let anything disturb you. It's not like, they call it chawing. That's a slang, I guess, chawing. Just talk about stuff. in the kitchen. Huh? Chawing. Yeah, just talking. No, it should be a meditation. The kitchen should be very, very peaceful. You don't talk about anything. You just meditate on that, making that offering. And devotees would say that about her and other very, very good cooks. This is a meditation. They're laser focused on exactly that. Otherwise, how could they prepare such amazing prasadam? So meditation. And then the other one is you make up the plates and you bring them. She said, whether it was to Prabhupada or the deities, offer it with devotion, and then leave. So you're a servant. You're a humble servant. You don't stick around, like especially with Prabhupada. You just brought the plate, you left it, and you just left. You didn't hang around and see if Prabhupada liked something. Hey, Prabhupada, you like this? No. Very humble servant. So you pray, you meditate, very carefully make up the plates, you bring them, offer them with devotion, and leave. That's it. That's your devotion when you cook. So how did I get up on that one? Well, about the great devotees, always having Krishna there and preaching, and you can tell, oh yeah, when you're focused, or someone doesn't know what they're doing or something. So someone really knows or has a realization, you can tell. And it has an effect on everyone. So great devotees, they carry Krishna. In fact, what is the verse by Yudhisthira Maharaj about Vidura? You are veritably a place of pilgrimage yourself. So in other words, what's so special about going on pilgrimage? Someone tell me, I'm leaving in a few days. I better get it right. What? Huh? Sadhu Sangha, hearing, purification, right? Just by being in the Dham, one should become purified. Okay? So in the same way, great devotees, just being with them, you're purified. You're purified just by being with them, because they're like walking tirthas, places of pilgrimage. So devotees are, in that sense, non-different from Krishna. They carry Krishna with them, and they distribute Krishna's kindness and Krishna's mercy. So that's why Hiranyakashipu was very, very upset. He could see, my son has gone to the other side. He's gone. There's no hope. He's thinking like that. There's no hope, so therefore, I'm just going to kill him. Wow. Hare Krishna. So, and then Prabhupada talks about the different kinds of liberation, the Swarupya, Saloka, Sharshti, Samipa, and then there's also Sayuja, which means merging, which Krishna awards to the impersonalists, the merge into the Brahmani effulgence, and even demons will sometimes get this if they're killed by the Lord. And it's not very secure. Aruyakachena param padam tata. You go up to merge into the Brahmani effulgence, but gradually you come back down because there's no engagement. There's no engagement. So, but these other blessings or benedictions for those who go to Vaikuṇṭha, Swarupya means the same form of the Lord. So not everyone in Vaikuṇṭha has the same form of the Lord. It's not all little blades of grass are like little Vishnus and things like that. But, so there are all other living entities in Vaikuṇṭha, and they don't get these. So very special devotees do. They actually have the same form as Nārayaṇa. Yeah, that's the one thing you can always tell who Krishna is, because Viṣṇu, he's got the little curl of white hair there, the Shrivat. That's a residence of Lakshmi. Salokya means living on the same planet. You get to live in the same neighborhood, the same planet. Now, Sharshti, is that opulence? The same opulences. Can you imagine having all the same opulences of God? And then Samipa, does that mean association? Association, you're always associating. So these are different forms of a liberation awarded to the devotees of the Lord in Vaikuṇṭha. And it says they all look the same pretty much, but the devotees, they always know that they're not Krishna. Like that. Even though they have all of that, they're very, very conscious of that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God and He's sharing His opulences with me. But we're not so much interested, devotees of the Lord aren't so much interested in these things. What is that? Na danam, na janan, na sundarim kabitam va jagadishre. Mama janvi ishware bhavatad bhakta hoitiki tvai. At the end there, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, birth after birth in this material world, I don't care. I'm not interested in liberation. I don't want to really go to Vaikuṇṭha. I just want your eternal devotional service wherever I am. That's the prayer of the devotee. Like that, he's not so much concerned with these things. at all. It's just Krishna's kindness that he awards these to the residents of the spiritual world. Because you're in the spiritual world, you got to look good, right? You got to look appropriate as a resident of the spiritual world, so Krishna spruces you up a bit. You get a Vaikuṇṭha form, you got nice opulences, you're associating. And you see a bunch of wealthy people, they all look pretty much the same. They've got nice clothes and cars and this and that. That's that level of opulence and so on. So if you go to Vaikuṇṭha, Krishna makes sure you come right up to that standard. But the devotees aren't bewildered by that at all. So, the time. Okay. So I'm going to end here because of the time. Are there any questions or comments? I mean, the verse, there's one verse. I'm going to read the translation to the next verse. That way the class tomorrow begins with 37, and that's where there's a purport. Okay? So it says here, although Prahlad, this is Hiranyakasipu saying, although Prahlad is only 5 years old, even at this young age he has given up his affectionate relationship with his father and mother. Therefore he is certainly untrustworthy. Indeed, it is not at all believable that he will behave well toward Viṣṇu. He's calculating that, he's 5 years old and he's, given up his affection for his parents, but, maybe he'll give up his affection for Lord Viṣṇu too. He's just a kid. Like that. So this is one criticism he's making of him. Little does he know what's to come. So this is Hiranyakashipu. Well, just the time. The time. Well, I can bring it up. It's right here. Boom, 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 boom. Here we go. Ramachandra Kaviraj. He was the disciple of Srinivasa Acharya Prabhu and the very intimate friend of Narottam Das Thakur. This is the Ramachandra Kaviraj. His father and mother are pure devotees. He was extremely learned in all matters, and his wife was very chaste and gentle. Oh, this is his father. Let's keep going down here. So he had a brother. So there are two sons, Ramachandra and Govinda. Later they both became disciples of Srinivasa Acharya Prabhu. Ramachandra was very handsome, intelligent, and perseverant. After his father passed away, the two brothers, Ramachandra and Govinda, came to live with their grandfather who practiced the Shakta religion. What's the Shakta religion? Shiva worship. Being influenced by him, both became inclined to worship the various personified forms of Maya. At this time, Ramachandra practiced medicine and was also, that's why he's called Kaviraj, medicine, was also quite well known as an accomplished poet. Then he got married. Boy, there's all this stuff here. Palanquin, overjoyed, wedding. Oh, here, Srinivasa Acharya had similarly been continuously thinking, so I guess there was a meeting of some sort. They met each other, Srinivasa Acharya and Ramachandra. Srinivasa Acharya Prabhu had similarly been continuously thinking of Ramachandra ever since he'd seen him in the day before. Upon seeing Ramachandra again, prostrated before him, he picked him up, braced him deep ecstasy. Then he told him, birth after birth, you are my most dear friend. In this way, in the same way the Lord caused us meeting with Narottam Das Thakur at Vrindavan. He has reunited us all, and you are my dear friend. Ramachandra stayed with Acharya Prabhu and studied the literatures of the 6 Goswamis under his tutorship. There's just so much here. He obviously gave up the worship of Lord Shiva, became a great devotee. He went to Vrindavan to have darshan of the 6 Goswamis. He arrived at Mathura. At this time, his guru Srinivasa Acharya was present at Vrindavan. Ramachandra offered his prostrated obeisances at the lotus feet, and Jiva Goswami conveyed all good news of the devotees from Gaudadesh. I just want to see if we get into Okay, I'll just read this one pastime, because he was involved in this pastime pretending to be a merchant. Okay, that what?
Before you do that, just give me 30 seconds. I'm going to read the
Well,
translation of one of the great verses here. As the Kaviraj.
okay.
Okay. Srimad Mahaprabhu, I'm not going to read the Bengali. Srimad Mahaprabhu is so kind that he manifests the nectar of the Hare Krishna mantra. The holy name will free all souls from the cycle of birth and death, from lower planets, from hell. The holy name will give one a taste of divine love for Radha Madhava. Whether blind or dumb, anyone can drown in this flood of prema. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has filled everyone with love of God, but Ramchandra Das is so unfortunate that he couldn't even taste a drop of that nectar. Hare Krishna.
Okay, well, this is a little bit lengthy, but it's a wonderful pastime here. It says, one time, some Smarta Brahmanas made a conspiracy to defame the name of Srila Narottam Das Thakur, because he was initiating all these different persons, many different castes. They were very upset that though he was only a Kayastha by caste, he accepted those born in Brahmin families as his disciples. They enlisted Raj Nrsimha and the conquering Pandit Sri Rupa Narayan in a crusade to somehow expose Narottam Das as a fraud. In a large party, they made their way to Keturi, where Srila Narottam had his headquarters. Coming to know of this conspiracy, Sri Ramachandra and Sri Ganga Narayan Chakravarti came forward to meet their challenge. They journeyed to Kumarapur, where they each set up two small shops in the market, one a pan and betel nut shop and the other selling small clay pots. When the party of Smartan Brahmins arrived at Kumarapura, they sent their disciples out to purchase wares for cooking their meals. The students came to those shops. The shopkeepers, actually Ramachandra and Ganga Narayan, in disguise, spoke to them in Sanskrit and began to raise a philosophical dispute with them. Seeing the profound learning of those two shopkeepers, the students were dumbfounded, but nevertheless took up a challenge. After a short time, however, it became obvious that they were no match for those shopkeepers. They called for their gurus, who arrived on the scene with Raj Nrsimha and Rupa Narayan. Rupa Narayan himself was drawn into the debate and was defeated by the Bhagavat-based arguments of Ramachandra and Ganga Narayan. When the king requested their introduction, those two shopkeepers informed him that they were two extremely insignificant disciples of Srila Narottam Das Thakur Mahashaya. Having met defeat in the village marketplace, Rupa Narayan and the Smarta Brahmins were no longer interested in proceeding to Keturi. Their crusade evaporated as they all decided to return immediately to their respective homes. That night, after Raj Nrsimha had returned to his house, he had a dream in which Durga Devi told him, "Narasingha, you have committed a great offense at the feet of Narottam Das Thakur. As a result of this Vaishnava aparad, I will have to cut you all to pieces with this chopper." This is Durga speaking to him. "If you want to save yourself, then you had better immediately go and take shelter of Narottam Das Thakur's lotus feet." When his sleep broke, the king immediately, this is the king, took a bath and set out for Keturi. Rupa Narayan had a similar dream. So they're both heading there. "Hey, what was your dream? What was your dream?" Not good. All proceeding toward Keturi at the same time. They met upon their arrival there and approached the temple of Sri Gauranga in order to meet Narottam Das Thakur. He was absorbed in his bhajan, but when a disciple informed him that the arrival of two guests, he came out to meet them. Simply by seeing his transcendental form imbued with Krishna prema, the two offenders became purified and fell down to offer their obeisances at Thakur Mahashaya's feet. He initiated them with the Radha Krishna mantra. So, as Ramachandra Kaviraj is involved in that. Yeah. So now that Rupa Narayan, what was he later in the pastime of?
He was the same Pandit that Jiva Goswami defeated.
Okay.
Jiva Goswami and Sanatana Goswami defeated.
He was the same one that Jiva Goswami defeated. So, okay, so we can enter all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Okay, Ramachandra Kaviraj ki jai, Srila Gopal Bhatta Das Goswami ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Where, oh where, please.